Yeah, okay. You can deal damage. That's not so hard. Hi everyone, I'm Zeiss, and on this channel I turn you into an RPG master. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure to smash the subscribe button and keep in touch. Now I've released a video about this build, like, what was it, 2 weeks ago? And because it came as an idea from my last season's Bloodlands build, everything was blood oriented, but we're gonna go into the details for the bone side of things, as some of you have asked on the streams and under video comments and things like that. So let's see the changes that I did here basically, so you can focus on the bone side of things if you have the gear for it. Now mostly what I changed is I improved here the attack speed on the gloves, nothing else there. I changed the temerity here to one with the unique power of 100 unique power, 100 barrier. I also removed the rubies from the Doombringer, and I'm with a new focus here, focusing on Bone Spirit explosion size and critical strike damage instead of overpowered damage. But if you want to overpower, for example, with the Blood Moon Breaches and with the Banished Lord's Talisman, you can sock it with rubies. Everything else is basically the same, except the amulet here is focusing on devotion instead of tides of blood. And I'm using this on hardcore because if I use the Banished Lord's Talisman, I will lose this high DR percentage. I kinda swapped one of the rings because this one is better, has GA life and GA and attack speed, and because I'm hitting the 4th attack speed breakpoint of Blood Lance, I will not be hitting more than once the attack speed on that ring. I have it here twice, and also I don't even need to hit it on the other ring with the master working. So those are pretty much the gear changes. Book of the Dead is the same. Let's go over the skill changes. Nothing changed here. Basically, you might want to also refer to the previous video, but 1-2 blood lance and supernatural blood lance maxed out in perfectly balanced. This stays the same, so we can get the additional 10 crit chance. Decrepify, amplify damage. We're not using any of these because we get it from the Shaco, but if you have a legendary helmet, you need to put 1 point here because it will drastically help you for survivability and so on and so forth. You can also put 1 point here, but you're probably gonna make your enemies vulnerable with an affix from your glove or one of your rings. Now, one of the important things is to use Abhorrent Decrepify because it will massively help you with the cooldowns. That's a thing. We're not using any of those, but if you're willing to, you can use Death's Embrace, or if you suffer mobility, like if your movement speed is below 165, it can get really dangerous and problematic to basically avoid many of the attacks which will be coming your way. That approach is the thing to get. I removed here Drain Vitality to focus on Necrotic Carapace instead to get fortified, because as we know, the more fortified life we have, the more overpowered damage we'll be dealing, and it's also granting 15% damage reduction, so that's quite a useful thing. So if you focus on the blood side of things, like I said on my last video, you can use Drain Vitality, but if not, you can use Necrotic Carapace, that's the thing. Max out Bone Spirit and the upgrades to get Ghastly Bone Spirit. So we got 10 crit chance here, 10 crit chance from the Blood Mist, so you're totally fine if your crit chance is like around 80. Because you also get some critical strike chance with Serration, and also some from the Bone Paragon board, Bone Graft. The important passives to get are Compound Fracture and Evotion, of course, keeping Blood Wave with both upgrades, and Inspiring Leader here, standalone with Memento Mori. Now, we all know that Bone Prison doesn't count as 6 minions anymore, so standalone is absolutely a good thing to use on your Necromancer build, which includes Bone Prison. Unfortunately, for those who are using the Dead Speaker's Pendant, for example on their Blood Surge builds, well, Bone Prison is not a thing anymore there. Anyway, moving on to the Paragon changes. It's basically the same, but I swapped a few things. Here I place Sacrificial instead of Amplify. I just said why, because of Bone Prison, and we're not obliged to curse enemies to get the bonus from it anymore. Although I would advise to do so because of the amplified damage passive of the curses. So, our Necromancer, as you probably saw at the start of the video, is dealing in the billions of damage. That's good for bossing, for carrying, for tier 8s, for everything. Anyway, moving on here from the main board and Sacrificial, I put Essence here on the second board instead, because the bone skills are benefiting more from critical strike damage instead of overpowered damage. So that's the thing. I moved Essence here. As you can see, that's a huge bonus to critical strike damage, 154.4. Everything else is the same. We can actually get rid of this, use the health here, doesn't matter. It should be nearly similar. Okay, we have here Gravekeeper, the same, not using Flesh Eater because we are not consuming the corpses. With Corpse Tendrils does not consume the corpses, remember that, unless it is used with the Ring of the Sacrilegious Soul, and then it actually counts as corpse consumption. And we're not using Corpse Explosion, we're not using any corpse consumption, so this does not really help here. And if you for some reason want to do it, you might want to invest points in it, but it's very far from our path and you'll be missing out on other things. Also, it will drastically increase your APM because you're gonna have to use some corpse consuming skill, which is, I believe, not a thing in this build. We're basically using permanently everything, but mostly Bloodlance, Blood Wave, the auto-casting Bone Spirit, and Cursing, and Tendrils, and combining the enemies together. So the blood waves can hit them, so on and so forth. And if it's something really dangerous we want to keep away, it's Bone Prison, that's what it's helping for. For example, on the Tormented Echo of Duriel, when the fight starts, you want to put your Bone Prison right in front of Duriel, so those brown balls Duriel is throwing at you don't get you the Tormented stacks, because it might actually ruin your fight. Anyway, you probably know many cases like this, right? I'm using Corporeal here to get this damage to injured enemies, and I still keep the armor. I lowered the armor since the last video. It's again over the cap, so that doesn't matter. Previously it was with a couple of hundred overcapped, so that's why I decided to go this way. This is the Scent of Dead board, and then we're moving on to this board here, Blood Begets Blood. But before we get to that, I would like to mention why I removed here the Bloodbath legendary power. It's because how often can you get the Bone Spirit to overpower instead of your Blood Wave or your Blood Lance? Even if you use the Banished Lord with one more guaranteed overpower, that's basically not a thing. It's happening, but it's happening like, I don't know, once, couple of seconds. So I wouldn't really count on it so much, just focus on increasing the Bone Spirits not overpower damage, but critical strike damage. So you deliver this damage consistently, like a couple of times a second, instead of shooting, and oh my god, when is this gonna overpower, right? You might actually become religious if you're not. So I wouldn't really count on it, on this one. Anyway, so moving on here to the Blood Begets Blood board, and we're using Dominate glyph, especially if it's empowered, and we're getting here the overpower and enemy damage. They take additional one because of the additional bonus, focusing a bit more of damage for seconds after picking blood orbs, because Blood Lance is basically consuming those for us. And I here move on then to the board Bone Graft, but this time I took actually the legendary power, focusing a bit more on the damage. Well, we can get rid of some damage and actually put this back here, like life and DR from dots. Those things are actually really important, and I'm gonna show you in a bit how tanky this character actually could be, because it has over 100k life, 70 something damage reduction while healthy, and can also tank the tormented bosses even with 3 and 4 stacks, no problem.
Reset,
Yeah, it
Zeiss,
hit
leave,
me hard. I left.
leave, bro,
I
leave.
left. Yeah, I left.
Big Lotus. You
You
died?
almost died, Zeus.
Zeiss?
Yeah,
Zeus almost
I'm
died. Zeus
immortal.
had
I'm not dying,
100%.
bro. Right? Anyway, getting back to bone graft. So we're sticking here with exploit because it's less dexterity compared to the essence glyph on the bloodbath board. And we're getting the dexterity for it right here. We can where we can actually benefit from those bonuses for the bone side of things. Of course, here the armor and the life notes and those with the bone damage, we can actually boost our intelligence a little bit to get this bonus here. But that probably ain't gonna be coming from the Paragon board. I might keep working on that one because you know fine tuning doesn't take usually a day or two. You actually need the gear upgrades, you need to change, test things, and it may not even happen during the season unless you're on softcore trade like the rest of the noobs. Anyway, so we're getting here these bone critical strike chance nodes and also bone graft itself because it's very similar to what the dominate glyph is doing, and this is drastically scaling our damage. Remember last time when I showed the video? So I think the damage I scaled like I don't know, 100 times, maybe more, we don't know. But the thing is that this damage, that those numbers are not so important. It's important how fast we can deliver them and how consistently we can actually deliver them. Because previously most of the numbers were coming from Blood Lance, which in this case we're using at a Blood Orbs consumption skill, and we were focusing mostly on the Blood Wave damage and the Bone Spirit just in between. Now it's the other way around, and you can see that the numbers are different, but we can't deliver this damage consistently. So the other thing which is, I believe, important here is the attack speed. Let's show why. Now let me bring back those numbers again. Okay, gameplay. I'm gonna have to, yeah, okay, they are enabled. So what we see here on the offensive tab, we can see attack speed bonus. So we are definitely over the second breakpoint on the attack speed with this 72 here. I'll make sure to put the numbers here above me so you can have a reference, and I'll explain why this matters and why I have so much attack speed everywhere. Now, how the engine of this game works is a certain attack is displayed through an animation, right? Hope you understand it so far. Now, because the animation is being played through a couple of frames, the animation has to play through those frames, and if the animation cannot be played through certain frames, you're actually not gaining any attack speed boost, although you're getting attack speed bonuses on your gear or wherever. But if the animation cannot be played within those certain frames, you're not getting the bonus. And we're calling this breakpoints because, for example, the animation can play on 16 frames, the animation can play on 18 frames, and if you get attack speed which might want to make you think you're gonna make the animation play in 17 frames, no, that's not gonna be a thing. You're simply not getting anything from your attack speed bonus. So the thing you might be looking for here is combined with your weapons, your total attack speed is whatever number it says, and I'm like I said, I'm gonna put those numbers here. On the left you're gonna see the frames required for the animation to play, and on the right you're gonna see the breakpoint for the attack speed you're actually benefiting from. Anything else, you're not getting anything, you're not benefiting from it. And now you probably must understand how much you gotta farm in order to hit this right, because masterworking in this game is insanely expensive. Sometimes it can work on the first time, sometimes it could cost you like tens of thousands of neat iron and billions of gold. So be careful, try to reset properly, possibly at earlier stages of the masterworking, to try keep on doing it properly so you can actually benefit from it. Now, while this may require a separate video about it, I'm pretty sure all the softcore randoms out there who are playing like non-stop and had no lives to do something else, who probably are making hundreds of videos about it. Well, if they're not, I'm here, no worries, you can ask. So I think that basically covers everything which is important to make this build work. I already discussed some variations on it, how I came up with it, what it can do, and pretty much everything about it. Well, you might see probably variations of this build here and there. It's mostly because we got what? Like a couple of unique build enabling unique items in this game. We can have like one build and everything else sucks. So basically what you're gonna see me doing is push off meta builds to their limits on hardcore and see how far they can go. If that's something you're interested in, again hit and smash the subscribe button and the like button and keep in touch and let's see where this leads us, right? Not much more to add here. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you didn't, that's your problem. So, Zeiss out. Take care.